Hey guys, Crypto Sunday, and it's been a very unusual sort of roller coaster of a week, sort of ending rather red in the last day or two. And yeah, this number hasn't quite updated from the looks of it. I believe I am flat for the week. So rather unbelievable. This is largely down to one coin. Pretty much everything else is down, which I will leave you to guess, and we'll come back to after the news. So the CoinShares report for the week before last, 5 days old report, as I always say, was a new record, only slightly, but that's always good. Year to date inflows are now $10.3 billion dollars, and this week alone was 2.7 billion. So enormous inflow. And obviously Grayscale minus 1.65 billion, and then iShares and Fidelity are the main inflows. Almost all of this has gone into Bitcoin. A slight negative on Ethereum, but obviously absolutely tiny compared to assets under management. A little bit into multi-asset, and quite a large gain into Solana, 23.6 million. So that's all come off the back of a few down weeks. So that's quite good. Not really sure where that's going. There aren't any sort of listed, I don't think, specific Solana ETFs. Maybe sort of in some smaller countries. But yeah, a little bit of Litecoin going in, a reasonable amount of short Bitcoin. They only have 96 million assets under management, and they saw 11.2 million in short Bitcoin, so that may have done rather well over the last sort of few days. Obviously not open at the weekend, but they may open up tomorrow in profit. And then a little bit of money into Cardano, XRP, and a little bit into Polkadot, and then some others. Country-wise, still getting Canada, Germany, some quite negative outflow there, and Sweden, Switzerland and Brazil getting a little bit of inflow, and obviously US taking the vast majority of everything. And then just digging into this last week, we actually had a record inflow since the beginning, the first 1 billion day inflow day. This was almost all BlackRock, 849 million. After sort of a reasonable amount, you sort of average 300 to 500 million dollars of inflow. The Fidelity one sort of gone a little bit quiet, sort of 130, 215, but it's had 2 days of only double figures. So not the end of the world. Grayscale was sort of a reasonable amount of outflows, sort of a 500 nearly, but then double figures and then a couple of 250s. So yeah, the sort of overall, and then a rather quiet day on Friday, 139 from BlackRock and sort of 155 from Fidelity, but a quiet Grayscale day. So yeah, 2 days in a row of sort of under 200 million inflows. We'll have to see what the next few days bring, or whether this is sort of a sign of things to come, lower inflows, or if it's just a one-off. I mean, we had back in sort of the end of February, we had a 92 million, and then the sort of one outflow for the past few weeks. So yeah, could just be like that. That sort of quickly resumed higher inflows shortly after that, and we've still got sort of what do they call them? Registered investment advisors being onboarded. You know, not even been able to buy the ETFs just yet. So yeah, it seems like the sort of staggered approach of people buying seems to be working rather than sort of everyone joining on day one, and sort of we may have had a huge pump and be now coming back down again. So it's good. And then my bewildered confusion over MicroStrategy sort of continues. They just issued $800 million of convertible debt and purchased Bitcoin with it. They bought 12,000 Bitcoin, and he's immediately putting together a 525 million convertible debt. Again, I'm not quite sure I see the sort of gain for the buyers, really. The debt, if you're lending money to them, you get about 0.5% interest, I think. There's almost no chance of this ever coming back. They will sort of convert, but less at a higher price. I think they're saying the conversion price is at $2,327 a share, where they're sort of currently, 17, 1800. I think it was a little bit higher than that. But yeah, I'm not sure why you wouldn't just buy the stock now if you think it's going to do well. You know, 0%, 0.5% debt obviously isn't attractive at all. These people are only buying it to get MicroStrategy stock, and if you're paying sort of 20, 25% above the current price, not quite sure what you're getting. But either way, if people are happy to pay that, it's another 525 million buy, presumably coming up, and yeah, it'll cause MicroStrategy to continue being what I think is very, very overvalued. Sort of looked at the figures before, about 100% overvalued compared to their Bitcoin. It seems to be because they do this sort of thing, which I don't really see as good for the price, but good for the Bitcoin price. This was interesting. Gary Gensler sort of under fire from two Democratic senators to not approve any further crypto ETFs. Not sure whether he means, or whether they mean more Bitcoin ETFs or the hotly anticipated Ethereum ETFs. There's 8 currently proposed. So, and there've been hopes that other altcoins would eventually walk the same path. So potentially sort of XRP and Solana in the future. But they need sort of quite a few steps to happen before ETFs would even be really talked about, like futures markets. So, yeah, they're saying retail investors can face enormous risks from ETPs, referencing thinly traded cryptocurrencies or cryptocurrencies whose prices are especially susceptible to pump and dump and other fraudulent schemes. They're saying it's rife with fraud and manipulation. So again, whether they're meaning sort of more Bitcoin ones, you could, to be fair, say the sort of what have you got, the Wisdom Tree ETFs or zero inflows on Thursday, for example. Some of these other ones, ARC or zero on Friday, and the Invesco one I don't think is doing particularly well. So yeah, you could say even more of these sort of dilutes the amount going into each ETF and could potentially mean a thinly traded market. But yeah, I'm not sure that's really a solid argument. And then certainly Ethereum ETFs could potentially be a different market. It's more of a sort of technology investment than a digital gold type thing. And if they can work out whether they pay the yield or not, ARC, I believe, said that they would in some way pay the yield, then again, it's different types of investors. So not sure whether it would be thinly traded markets. Certainly the BlackRock and Fidelity ETFs on the Bitcoin side have been sort of the most successful ETF launches ever. So wouldn't really call them thinly traded, but I'm sure this is just another sort of bit of hate on the market, basically. This does seem to be getting rather a lot of coverage as well. The Qatar Investment Authority, their sovereign wealth fund, somebody has sort of suddenly said that they could invest 500 billion into Bitcoin. I think the number's completely pie in the sky from a starting point, but there's nothing to say that they may not add sort of a small amount. They sort of do they obviously have vast amounts of money in that sovereign wealth fund, and they're getting into technology. They've said they want to put 100 billion into technology innovation and artificial intelligence. They haven't mentioned crypto at all, so really not sure where this 500 billion comes into. You couldn't even really buy 500 billion without sort of 3xing the price at least. But yeah, they're sort of talking about buying public stocks and doing VC investments and all sorts. So as part of a sort of diverse portfolio. They could do a sort of 1 or 2% allocation maybe to the whole crypto market. That might mean sort of a few billion into Bitcoin, say, and a couple of billion into some alternatives, and then some VC stuff. But nothing like 500 billion. I think this is just people dreaming, to be honest, and throwing a large number at it, trying to sort of get people overhyped. Speaking of hype, I suppose we have the king of mostly unhelpful hype, Elon Musk, saying that he thinks, so he doesn't even have the authority, it seems, to do this anymore. He thinks Tesla should enable Dogecoin as a payment for its vehicles at some point. And he said, Dogecoin to the moon. He's always been a fan of Doge, and yeah, the idea of people sort of buying $60,000-$70,000 worth of Doge to buy a car just seems a little bit ridiculous. They would obviously not hold the Doge, so they're then selling $70,000 worth of Doge. I think it's just going to it would make the market incredibly volatile. They do have a fair amount of volume at the moment, but I think that's just because it's sort of meme coin season, and yeah, if sort of market quiets down, I don't think the market has the liquidity to start moving sort of $70,000 or just for one car, at a time. So he has pointed out they can already purchase some merchandise on the Tesla website using Doge, but you're talking $500 or something, not $70,000 for a car. So yes, lots of rich people, he says, are sporting Bitcoin, but people on the line want me to support Doge. So I'll support Doge. That's just nonsense. And he loves to get in Doge to the moon. But the best news of the week has to be Craig Wright is not Satoshi. I think we all sort of pretty much knew this, but there was a bit of uncertainty hanging over the market. There was sort of potential that he could put forward a convincing argument, and lawmakers may sort of force the Bitcoin core team to potentially allow him access to the Satoshi wallet, and he would sell 1 million Bitcoin and pump up Bitcoin SV, his sort of token. And yeah, they've said the evidence presented during the trial was overwhelming, and they have stated, Judge Meller has stated, Dr. Wright is not the author of the Bitcoin white paper. Dr. Wright is not the person who adopted or operated under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto in 2008 to 2011. Dr. Wright is not the person who created the Bitcoin system. Not really sure what that means. There isn't a Bitcoin system as such. And fourth, he is not the author of the initial versions of the software. So that is pretty conclusive. Whether he will sort of be annoyed and start another trial with someone else that seems to be his life's work now is sort of going to court, we'll see. But this was good. Justice Meller also halted 2 other cases Craig Wright has filed against Coinbase and Block, alleging that he had database rights to the Bitcoin blockchain, and that depended on the outcome of this case. So lovely stuff. Bye-bye, hopefully, bye-bye Craig Wright. This is the last we'll see of him. He's still incredibly rich. He's not going to be suffering, but hopefully he just sort of thinks, I'm done, and goes home. So, as part of this correction, it seems, in the overall crypto market, we have been seeing Ethereum Bitcoin ratio come down again. I'm sort of keeping an eye on whether we get to the 0.05 level, which I was sort of eyeing up before as my potential switch to, switch of a small amount of Bitcoin to Ethereum. I've sort of been teasing this since probably the summer of last year. We did get below there in the sort of flash crash, if you like, in January. Got below 0.05, but yeah, with the Denkun upgrade, basically done and up and running now, and the ETF hype sort of coming forwards towards May after the Bitcoin halving. I guess that will be pretty much all of Bitcoin's sort of anticipated news events, and we may start moving on to Ethereum. So yeah, I'm sort of keeping an eye on this. It may never happen. I might be just happy to hold what I've got and ride the rest of the bull market, but we'll certainly keep an eye on it. Just looking at the burning, the supply chain change, we've sort of seen 21,300 reduction in supply in the last 7 days. This is sort of quietened down a little in the last day, only 850. So is a Saturday moving into Sunday. So fair enough. But yeah, sort of been fairly consistent downtrend for the last 3 weeks, and you can see sort of the line ever so slightly turning more flat than downwards, but yeah, overall it still looks very good. So we'll see what comes sort of in the next week or two, whether this resumes its sort of steep downtrend or if we have leveled out for a bit. So coins for the week. This is bouncing all over the place. The 455 number has not refreshed. It's a little bit higher than that now, but I'll just call it break even. Bitcoin then is down about 4%. Solana is surprisingly the only reason that I'm sort of pretty much flat this week. It's up 27%. So very, very nice. $182. The sort of all-time high was about 260. So getting towards that. Most people sort of noting that it's pretty much only Bitcoin of the large caps that have reached their all-time high. So Solana is getting there, and whether that's why Ethereum is sort of struggling a little bit. Obviously, Solana is one of the only coins sort of relatively green, as I say, in the large cap space. So yeah, maybe Ethereum is losing a bit of ground to Solana, but we'll have to see. Ethereum has been obviously performing worse, as you saw in the chart. That's 9% down for the week. Chainlink about 8% down. Cardano about 8% down as well. XRP, as it doesn't gain on the upside, it doesn't really lose. That's only down 1.25%. Gala down 15.5%, although that had an enormous run up previous week. Audius 8.8% down. Matic, Polygon down 13%. Power Ledger down 5.5%. Quant is actually still green for the week, about 2%. Internet Computer down 15%, so is Basic Attention Token and VeChain, all down about 15%. So it's Solana that has saved me from sort of a negative week. But I mean, it wouldn't have been that negative if Solana was down sort of the same as the rest. It would have been about 20,000 down or so. But obviously the last few weeks have been 30, 40, 50,000 up. So a small correction would be healthy, I would say. And whether this counts as a correction, then I'm flat on the week. And if sort of Bitcoin and Ethereum resume their gain, we'll have to see. Or if we get more of a correction, maybe Solana does have a sort of its own little major correction. And I might not sort of gain quite so much as the market in the next week. But we'll have to see. I'm rather happy with this performance, though. So leave your thoughts in comments below and like and subscribe. See you soon.